These Russian troops are hiding behind fog to protect themselves from Ukrainian drones. They're entering Pokrovsk, where fighting is raging. The Ukrainian city is threatening to fall after more than a year of confrontation. Before the war, it had a population of 60,000. It would be the largest city taken by Russia since Bakhmut in 2023. Local authorities report that only 1,200 civilians remain and that 90% of the buildings have been destroyed or damaged.
Unfortunately, they managed to infiltrate slowly to Pokrovsk, and now we have a lot of urban combat.
We take a closer look at fighting in the Donbas city that Vladimir Putin wants to establish as a symbol of Russian progress in Ukraine. The Russian entry was not sudden. The city has been one of the epicenters of fighting for over a year.
People can look at the map. So after the capture of Avdiivka, Russia managed to slowly push to the west. They managed to get to the outskirts of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd in autumn last year, but Ukraine managed to stabilize the situation.
Russia stepped up its mechanized assaults without making any major breakthroughs. They were thwarted by the massive deployment of Ukraine's drone units.
Russians then adjusted their tactics, and now they use so-called infiltration.
Russian troops advanced in small groups through Ukrainian lines, as seen in this video where Russian infantrymen advance in pairs in Pokrovsk. This practice is more difficult to counter for Ukrainians, who are outnumbered.
When you have infantry dispersed and employed by 2, 3, 4 people, then it creates dilemma for UAV operators. Which groups do you prioritize in terms of destroying? And even if you destroy like 8 out of F10 groups, then still 2 groups manage to get through and start accumulating at some point.
Ukrainians have stepped up operations to flush out these Russian infantrymen, like here in the northwest of Pokrovsk, where Ukrainian special forces are deployed by helicopter. Specialists and the Ukrainian military command say Russian losses in this sector during the months of assault have been immense. Some sources say there have been tens of thousands of casualties, but the situation is untenable for Ukrainian troops. Volodymyr Zelensky says they are fighting 8-1 in the city. Ukrainian soldiers are now most threatened with encirclement. And Kyiv's logistics routes are exposed to Moscow's drones, whose best units have been deployed in the area.
And now you have not only classic artillery, but you have UAVs. And it complicates logistics, and it explains why situation deteriorated, why it's so complicated.
This situation poses a serious threat to the Ukrainian troops stationed there, at a time when Ukraine is desperately short of soldiers. But no order to retreat has been given yet. According to the Ukrainian president, on November 3rd, nearly a third of the fighting on the front line took place around Pokrovsk.
Control of this settlement militarily doesn't change much in Russia's favor, but it might still undermine a Ukrainian system of defense. There is no other major urban area in this part of Ukraine on which we can anchor our defense. Arranging defense on open field is very difficult, especially in winter. And plus to create maybe a staging area for the next year of fighting, which might affect Slovyansk and Kramatorsk agglomeration, the biggest one under Ukrainian control in Donetsk region.
Сьогоднішній день на Донеччині, на Дніпровщині, найголовніше на Покровському напрямку.
The stakes surrounding the fall of the city are not only military.
We need to constantly evaluate situation in terms of whether or not it would be too late to withdraw troops if situation become precarious. But there are political considerations. If you lose Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, and then Putin use this situation to undermine Ukrainian position. And that's a headache to be a political and military leadership when you balance these considerations.
The transfer of this region from Ukraine to Russia is at the heart of Moscow's demands in discussions on a hypothetical ceasefire. And beyond Pokrovsk, Russia has recently made further advances on the front line.
He would try to spread ideas that Ukrainian resistance is futile, that aid to Ukraine is futile, that Russian victory is inevitable. Whether or not it would work, especially with Trump, I don't know, but definitely Russians would try to do it.